Hey everyone, I'm Jen, and I own a veterinary technician relief business.
And I'm Michelle. I own a veterinary technician mobile house call business.
And you are listening to Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. In this podcast, we will be discussing and meeting with credentialed technicians who have created their own path with business ownership within the veterinary space.
Our goal is to help inspire burnt-out vet techs before they leave the industry altogether through our stories and the stories of other vet tech business owners.
All right, before we jump into today's episode, we want to give a huge thank you to one of our sponsors, Action Vet Tech Services, or AVTS.
AVTS is an RVT-owned staffing, training, and consulting agency founded by Jacqueline Phillips RVT, based out of North Carolina with a nationwide reach supporting credentialed veterinary technicians.
What we really love about AVTS is that it was built for technicians. Their entire mission is focused on creating empowering and autonomous career paths for credentialed technicians, so RVTs, CVTs, LVTs, and even VTS specialists.
Their team includes about 30 to 45 professionals with a huge range of specialties, and many of them have been with AVTS for more than 3 years. It's a group that's really focused on leadership education, supporting each other.
AVTS offers flexible relief staffing for clinics and hospitals, RACE-approved continuing education, customized in-house labs and trainings, and consulting for practices looking to improve workflow, compliance, and practice management.
They also create real pathways for technicians to grow into leadership roles, teaching opportunities, and long-term career development, which is something we talk about a lot on this show.
What really makes AVTS stand out is their RVT-first owner-led model that prioritizes autonomy, professional growth, and building a strong community of credentialed technicians.
So if you're in a clinic looking for skilled veterinary technicians or a technician looking for new opportunities to grow your career,
be sure to check out Action Vet Tech Services and see how they're helping elevate technicians across the veterinary profession. All right, now let's get into our episode for today.
talk about is
hello you guys, we are back.
Happy Monday. Did you
Happy
miss
Monday.
us? I know.
They said they didn't miss us because they've been listening to us weekly. I know that we missed a couple weeks. We skipped a couple weeks there. It was just because of some with the back recording, and then with me being on maternity leave, and then me being like behind on my editing. I had messaged Michelle and I was like, oh shit, like we don't have any episodes. So I guess we're taking a couple weeks off. So, but now we're here and we're recording again. So we're going to be back on track.
Yes, and we got a fun chill and spell. And I think this is almost perfect because I don't believe we were planning on recording until about the fall.
Yeah.
And I know you were getting ready to have your baby, and I counted up and I'm like, okay, we have enough guests lined up until the end of the year. But like me and you solo episodes, we don't have that much. So
I was just so sick and I wasn't feeling good and I was tired.
Oh, you were sick, yeah. Yeah, you were, during those last couple episodes, yes, you were ready to pop. You were like, but you were trucking it through, man. So, but you had your baby. We haven't recorded in almost 4 months now because I believe the last time we recorded, I was out in Arizona. And this is our first time. It's kind of like a midsummer recording, and we're coming back a little early.
I know. And it's going to be a little confusing, you guys, with recording, because obviously with this recording that you're listening to now, like I've had my baby and it's the summer, but then you're going to listen to some future guest episodes and I'm still going to be pregnant on those episodes. So it'll be like a little bit, but it's fine. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
you don't need to know
batch recorded. Yeah.
So,
but boy, did I miss you, and I'm glad to be back. I did.
Yeah, me too. Yes. It was tough. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it all. And so I'm just dipping my toes slowly back into my normal life a little bit. I'm still not working. It's July right now, and so there's talk of me dipping my toes back in September. So that's when I think I'll officially be going back to work. And yeah, so I'm going back to the gym, so I'm doing that, and now slowly recording, and then work, and then juggling little baby. So, I mean, it's tough. I'm working on every 4 hour, like 4 hours of sleep at a time, and then I wake up to feed her, and then another 4 hours. So that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, I know it's a lot of work, so I'm glad you made time to come on, and we're glad to have you back. I'm glad to see you again.
Mhm.
You look vibrant. Your color is back. You don't even look like you just had a baby. You look like beautiful. You're
Oh,
glowing.
thanks.
So, yes. Yes, the
Thanks.
summer has been good to you. I haven't done anything this summer. I haven't gone swimming yet, and that was my promise I made to myself. I got 3 reoccurring ear infections.
Oh,
So I stayed out of the lakes.
yeah,
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah. So it's very unfortunate. I have not been able to go swimming yet. And here it is, July 28th.
Oh
And
no.
I know. So but I've had a fun summer. I
Good.
got a hobby. I got another hobby. I joined Toastmasters. I officially joined. I went to a few meetings. I'm learning how to speak more etiquette.
Oh,
I'm learning new words. I'm not saying as much, even though I just did. I'm not saying like every 5 seconds. I'm trying to learn how to be a more poised speaker.
oh,
So,
nice.
yes,
That's
yes.
fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. Twice a month. Everybody there seems really nice, very
Oh,
welcoming.
good.
So I'm very shy,
Yeah.
and it took for my second time at the very end for me to finally say, like, "Hi, I'm a vet tech." I didn't want to, It's so funny. Like, yeah, I had this urge to be like, I'm a vet tech, but I'm like, nope, I don't. I want to be a normal human. So I had to speak on a topic, and I'm like, I know nothing but veterinary medicine. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
what I've done this summer is exploring, getting hobbies, but not swimming. So,
That's okay. And I don't know
yeah,
if our listeners really know that you're shy. I think I don't think it comes off. Yeah, obviously you don't come off as shy on the show and on your TikToks and things like that. So I think it might be a little shocking for our listeners to hear that you are shy, but I know that you've told me that you are pretty shy. So, but that's
I
good. This will help with that for sure.
I think so. The first time I stood up, my hands were sweating, and I was grabbing them to the point where they
Oh.
were turning white, and that was in a room of 12 people.
Oh.
And yeah, but I stood up the next time, and I wasn't gripping my hands as much. I'm getting there. I'm getting
Oh.
there. But when it's me and you, it's just me and you.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
and I know who our listeners are, and they know how I am.
Yeah.
Most of our listeners are other vet techs that we talk to on a regular basis.
Right.
So I don't mind if I stutter here or something. So.
um
All right, our chill and spell.
yes. So what are we talking about today on our chill and spill, Michelle? Take it away.
Well, all right. First of all, it's a dry episode today. So me and Jim both have waters for different reasons. But next time we'll have our wine because I still have that bottle of Two of America's Most Wanted, the Snoop Dogg wine that I got for $9.99 at Kroger.
Yeah.
I've still got that one waiting for our first official drinking chill and spill. It's waiting. It's collecting dust, but it's getting there.
Hey,
So
sometimes the longer the better with wine, so.
yeah, especially when you buy them at Kroger and they're discounted. All right. So our chill and spill. So the news has been kind of dipping their toes in vet med recently. An example would be the PBS NewsHour. That one is pretty recent. And there is another one too. I can't remember the name of it, but it painted veterinary professionals in a bad light. But this PBS NewsHour that aired, I would say first week of July, it focused on private equity in vet med. And me and Jen talked about it a little bit here and there. And we decided to do a chill and spell on it because it did make its rounds in the vet tech groups. And I know one of the doctors on there that they interviewed, Dr. Michelle Forbes, who is fabulous. I love her. I actually met her in person. She lives on the other side of the state. However, she just opened up a new practice not too far from my house. So I met her. She's delightful. She's just as every bit of tenacious, sweetness, nice, professional as you see on her TikToks and as you saw her in that PBS NewsHour. I liked the way it was done because to me, it was them trying to shed the light on private equity and vet med versus trying to make veterinarians look bad. And I liked that. And with me, private equity is a soft spot, sore spot. It's not a good spot, put it that way. Not a good spot. I've been boisterous about my opinions about private equity and big corporations and vet med since at least February of 2021. Just by coincidence, maybe February 5th. Maybe I know the date exactly. And how I feel, and I know a lot of others feel, it's destroyed vet med and it's destroyed our owners' perception of us. When things go down in the pet industry and something makes the news, for example, the Maine dog, the dog that was a German Shepherd puppy in North Maine a couple years ago that ate the skewer from the barbecue and the owner surrendered it. And then she finally came up with the money a few days later and they already found a home and they had all these death threats. It made social media news everywhere. It made the national news. They painted the veterinary clinic as bad. But what they didn't do was talk about the corporation that owned it. And people were going after the clinic. And a lot of pet owners don't know that there's corporations behind a lot of these clinics. Especially, I think PBS NewsHour said 75% of specialty ER is private equity owned. Hey, Mars.
Which is crazy. That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's insane. And pet owners, they don't know that. So when they get mad, they come to us and they yell at the veterinarians, the technicians, the CSRs. But this PBS NewsHour, I believe they took more of an approach of, this is the new face of vet med. This is unfortunately what's going on, and we want owners to know these things.
Right.
So here we are presenting the facts, and I don't believe at any point in time did they want to paint the veterinary industry bad, veterinary professionals bad, or veterinarians who own their own practice bad. I believe they were genuinely looking out for our industry when it's privately owned and trying to highlight the corporations that have taken a part in why it's changed so much in the past 20 years.
Yeah. The thing is, though, because the way I feel about it is it's true, vet med is changing, and obviously more veterinarians are not wanting to own veterinary clinics. And I mean, I've even had discussions with the new generation of veterinarians of being like, hey, do you want to own your own clinic? Is that something that you want to do? And the majority of them, the answer is no. And the majority of them already, they're like, first of all, I regret even becoming a veterinarian. I should have done something different. I wish I would have done something different. I'm not happy. And then not only that, they're like, and owning a clinic? Absolutely not. I don't want the responsibility of owning a clinic. That's way too stressful. It's not worth it. I'm already losing enough time with my family. I don't want to lose more time with my family. Things of that nature. Also, I see more women in this field than men now than there was 20 years ago when we talk about male veterinarians. I mean, women are really starting to take over the veterinary field, and a lot of women, I feel, again, they don't really want to own clinics. I mean, because it takes up a lot of time, and some of these women they have kids, they have a family, and also this new generation, we have a little bit more of that work-life balance of where it's not all about work. So the only other options are corporations, and corporations are taking huge advantage of that. They're all about it. And I think it's interesting that obviously PBS is highlighting it, but it's not going to change. It's not, it's good that we're making people aware of it, but it's sad because it's like, what can we do to change it? And we can't. Like, it's already out from under the rug. It's too far gone, I feel like, at this point. Do you agree, Michelle?
I agree to some extent, a lot of extent. A lot of it is too far gone, but I'm seeing yes, I agree, the younger generation, we don't like responsibility. I don't like responsibility, but that doesn't mean I'm not a responsible person.
Right.
So I understand not wanting to own a clinic. I 100% get that. And I do think that corporations, they do have their place. I think if a person wants to move around or move up as a technician who wants to get into PR, marketing, operations, they can't get that in a private practice, but they can get that in a corporation. So it does give technicians that chance to move around. So I do appreciate that. However, those jobs don't last long. They're typically rolled out within 1 to 3 years. They're merged. They're sold out. The
Layoffs.
position is eliminated due to layoffs, cutbacks. Those jobs don't last long. So that's the sad part. But you are right to get back to the original point. A lot of DVMs don't want it, or they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They can't afford it. One of my good friends is
Student
a DVM.
loans.
Yep, student loans. Yep, $500,000 in student loan debt, unless you're independently wealthy or come from a silver spoon.
Yeah. And then starting out at what, 70,000, 80?
Yeah. Yep. I have been with 2 DVMs at this point who are brand new clinic owners, and I watched them struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched their finances. I know I worked for one when she just opened up her clinic, and it was her dream. She was a good veterinarian. She was one who paid me $13 an hour because she couldn't afford to pay me more. She wasn't even taking a paycheck for herself. And she renovated an old Dairy Queen and got a lot of her equipment used from a school that had shut down.
Wow.
So she lucked out, and she was still struggling.
Yeah.
And then my friend who is a DVM, I don't want to get into her finances too much because she is my personal friend. But I watched her go through the buyout process, and it was a lot more intense than I thought. I'm by her side as her friend, not her technician, not her employee. So she's, telling me stuff about the process, and I was blown back by all the steps you have to go through that I wouldn't even think were there. So it is hard to buy a clinic. So I know at least 2 women who are within our age, maybe a tad bit older, but they wanted that ownership, but it was hard to obtain. And that's the issue.
I think it's hard to obtain. And for some clinics, I think it's hard to maintain as well. And that's why there's so many that are giving in, unfortunately, when they're getting these calls. Oh my gosh, there was a clip on that PBS NewsHour where, was it your doctor that there was where they were saying
Pink scrubs ripped it up.
Yeah, and then she said how she what kind of offers she's getting. And she said, if you could see the numbers that I'm getting, I mean, it's hard for people to say no to that at the end of the day, especially when you aren't finding buyers and you're ready to retire. What are you supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do? I agree. And if, once again, you're not independently wealthy, you have an associate DVM who may have finally saved up $2 million to buy practice, but then you have a corporation saying, we'll give you 8.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, how are you supposed to beat that?
I mean, ethics are afforded, man, right? Like, yeah. I know even myself, I would be, oh man, 8 million, 2 million.
Right.
But
I know.
And
then there's some people, you're right. Cause then you're like, well, I have to think of my staff. I know, I'm very close with one of the owners locally in my area. And she has said the same thing. She was like, the number of calls that I get on a weekly basis and the numbers that are given to me that want to buy my clinic. She's like, I could retire and never have to work another day in my life. She's like, but I think about my staff and what it would do to them. And I say no.
Good for her.
But it's a struggle. I'm telling you right now, it is a struggle to maintain that clinic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a struggle. And Dr. Forbes talked about it. When medication cost.
Oh, yeah.
She pays. And here's the thing. I worked in distribution. I worked for a distributor for a couple years. So I was the middleman who my job was responsible. I would take the medications from the manufacturers, not me, but the company I worked for, and they would buy it in bulk and then break it down to the clinics. We had national accounts there. We had a major online pharmaceutical company as one of our customers. I wasn't in charge of that account, but everybody knew they were our customers. And they got so much better pricing than a lot of the privately owned clinics. If I could sell a bottle of carprofen to a clinic for $30, the national accounts would get it for $15.
Oh my gosh.
And I am not even kidding you. And that is because of the distributors. And that is because of the manufacturers. That's why I think a lot of it, and Dr. Forbes talked about it on PBS. They get better buying power. So they get better price breaks. And I've seen it. And I don't think I'm in a contract for those guys. I mean, I don't think so. But I'm not going to say who it was, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm not disparaging anything. And I'm not discussing anything bad, right? But that's what I saw. And it's very common knowledge. If you have bulk buying power, you get discounts. That's very common knowledge.
Yeah.
Just like Costco.
Yeah. I mean, with a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why it's hard to maintain, because we don't get the price breaks that the big guys get. And pet owners, they don't know that.
And they actually have the money to be able to afford it as opposed to the little clinics. It's like celebrities, right? Celebrities get everything for free and they almost don't have to pay for anything, but they are the ones that can actually afford to pay for those things. It's really weird how that works.
I know. It's weird and it's disgusting, and I don't understand it. But it's not just the veterinary industry. It's every industry, like you said, celebrities. And it's making it harder and harder for people to even have morale.
Oh, yeah.
For people to even want to care, because I'm not in a clinic, but just knowing that is out there, and then watching the movement of these companies aligning together.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance companies are now starting to align up with the corporations.
I know.
And that's scary.
Making that. And then, I mean, I've been hearing people say even now with those insurance companies that it's not even worth having insurance anymore with the amount that they're paying monthly. And, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. We're going to a human medicine model where everybody is lining up and getting owned. The insurance company is getting owned by the same company that owns the veterinary clinics. Like they mentioned Jab Holdings in there. So I know there's some alignment, but I'm not sure on exactly who it is. I haven't dived into it. But if you do your research, you'll see that these private companies will own a corporation, and then they'll also own the insurance company for the pet insurance. So, no, that's absolutely not monopoly. No, that's absolutely no conflict of interest. So what are we to do? And PBS brought that to light. They did. They mentioned Jab Holdings specifically. I was really appreciative of that.
Do you think that that's going to hinder people going to the vet from them highlighting that? Because they're going to not trust, or do you think it's going to say, because some people unfortunately don't even have the option to go to a private vet because their only options are corporate in the area.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's going to cause some confusion, but if the owners are listening to the article and properly digesting it, I believe that they're going to start asking the right questions. And that's what I'm hoping the outcome of that is. And I believe that was their angle. And we all like to say the news likes to twist stuff. The media likes to twist words. And PBS actually put a poll up on their Facebook page before that segment was recorded. I think. I don't know when it was recorded. Just imagining. But there was a poll that they asked, are your vets too expensive? If so, send us a message. And I've seen that get circulated in the tech groups, and a lot of techs are mad because they thought that PBS was trying to stir the pot. But what they don't know is PBS was trying to find information and gather up information about private equity firms. And that's what they were doing. But a lot of people saw that post, technicians within our industry saw that post, automatically assumed they're trying to bash. They were, yep, oh, they're bashing the veterinary industry. No, they're preparing to show pet owners the back end that they don't see. And that's what they were doing. I suspect. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, and even I know personally, and like they mentioned in the news hour as well, there are clinics out there that are corporately owned and you don't even know. Like it's under the radar. It's a secret. And they
Mhm.
do it that way because they know that if people knew that it was corporate owned, then it would get a bad rap, or there would people that would be less likely to take their pets there.
Mhm.
So I do know, I mean, I remember when I was calling for relief jobs and I talked to a recruiter, and the recruiter was like, "Oh yeah, I work for the corporation so and so." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "Yeah, there's actually like 3 clinics in your area that's owned by us." I was like, "Which
Oh.
clinics?" And she told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea that those clinics were corporately owned." And she was like, "Yeah, we kind of just are in the background. I mean, we don't really like to publicize that." And I was like,
Oh, no.
that's interesting. Did I
Mhm.
work for any of those clinics? No.
Hell
Because
yeah.
that's shady. I was like, that's weird.
Mhm.
I don't like that. But I have worked for a corporately owned emergency clinic. Um and but it wasn't a secret. And I liked them just fine.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
not always going to be bad just because it's a
right.
corporation.
Exactly. Yeah. But it is kind of lumped up in the same way, like you said, like they're the ones getting the better deals. They're the ones making a lot of money, but still paying their staff
Garbage.
as much as a privately owned clinic would. And the privately owned clinic is only paying their staff that much because that's all that they can afford. Whereas a corporately owned clinic is paying that because they're like, well, there's not much competition here and we can get away with it.
Mhm.
And more money in our pockets, right?
Yeah. It's more money for them. And that's the thing. They have no incentive to want to pay the staff better because they know that at the end of the day, most of us bleed with our hearts.
Right.
And we feel guilty for leaving our doctors, our patients, our coworkers, our work wives. So they know they have us by the balls. So no, they don't have to pay us more. They don't have to pay us more while they're going to a dinner of 20 in a very fancy restaurant. And then the bill cost $40,000. And that is a real thing because we ordered champagne. We went to a very expensive, very, very top-notch dinner to celebrate a big win for the company. $40,000. Do you know that's like a college education? And top leadership will blow that on one dinner, an annual dinner, to pat themselves on the back. But yet their staff is out here donating their plasma, living off food stamps, and deciding, do I put gas in my car or do I pay my cell phone? What do I do? But yet those guys in the ivory towers get a 40 grand fucking dinner. Tell me, please tell me where that is at least a tiny bit ethical. Do I think they deserve a higher pay because they're in leadership? Absolutely. You got big decisions you got to make. You have employees riding on you. Make responsible decisions. Get paid more. Absolutely. But that's just a whole nother level of disgusting, vile greed right there.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not going to the staff. So I believe PBS, again, was trying to show the pet owners what goes on behind the scenes. Granted, they don't know about the details that maybe other people have told me. I have texts tell me things that they've seen, that they've heard. Um, and yeah, pet owners don't know that. But I'll tell pet owners that. I tell my clients all the time what I see, what I hear, what I know. And I absolutely direct them to the privately owned clinics in my area. I made a list a few months ago of who is private, who is corporate. I dug into each one within my area and I looked at their LLCs. I called if I had questions. I said, my name is so-and-so. I'm new to the area. I got fluffy. Are you privately owned or does Dr. Smith own this clinic? If I was concerned, that's exactly what I did. because I want to know who was private and who was corporate in my area. And then I put that out for all my clients to see. Here's the guys who are corporately owned. And I had a ton of clients who were one of the clinics in our area that's really popular. It is a nice clinic. It's a very nice clinic. Is corporately owned, and they were just blown away by it. They had no idea. And I'm like, I think that clinic hates my guts now. But I'm just speaking the truth. I just put out there who owns you.
Yeah, I mean, if people are going to decide not to go to your clinic because you're corporately owned, I mean, that's a decision that they're free to make. And if that's the reason why, then maybe that should make you think. Like, why? Oh, well, I don't know. It's really sad. I know when I started in veterinary medicine, 2009, they were all privately owned. Corporate really wasn't a thing in my area. It might have just started of becoming a thing in other areas, but I know in my area it definitely wasn't. And then all of a sudden, corporate just blew up within a year or two. And now I would say the majority of the clinics in my area are corporate owned.
It's about half in mine. I'd say about half. And same, when I graduated tech school in 2009, that's when I entered the industry, was in 2009. I knew of Banfield was a corporate. They were the only ones that I know that existed. And now so many. And it's, the thing about it is it also creates less job choices for technicians and doctors. That's not a thing. If you piss one off, you piss them all off, right?
Yeah.
So, and who's to say that you actually were the bad person and not an office manager or a coworker who got mad at you and decided to put you on the naughty list?
Right.
And now you're screwed out of half the clinics in town. That's where I'm starting to have issues. It's creating less job opportunities for technicians as we get deeper and deeper into these corporations and these mergers. And that's why, again, I think what me and you do is so important, because if what you're thinking is right and the prediction is that it's not going to get any better, then technicians need to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet. At the end of the day, they have to think outside the box. They have to rely on themselves, because if we only have 2 places to work from in our town and we already worked at one and the other place isn't going to pay us, what are we to do with our skills?
Right.
We have to find different ways to reinvent ourselves beyond the walls of the clinic, because we're going to have so little choices in the future. I'm scared of.
So the other thing now is, now pet owners have to worry, is my pet getting offered what it's getting offered to make this corporate clinic money? Or are they getting offered what they absolutely need to get offered? And I will say, okay, so I know when the doctor will give them a gold standard estimate, and it's almost embarrassing because the owner will say, look, this is as much money that I can work with. And then you tell the doctor, and the doctor still writes that gold standard estimate, and they tell you, okay, well, I've got $400. And then the doctor writes up a $3,000 estimate. And I'm like, they legit told me they can only afford $400. And so then I have to go in there and I have to explain, like, technically for liability purposes, we have to show you this estimate so that you know what your options are and you know that this is the gold standard. And now what I also have to tell you is all of this necessary? Probably not. But we can go through baby steps and say, we can do like something conservative to start with, because sometimes the conservative way will work.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of veterinary clinics doing that anymore. They're not even giving them the conservative option anymore. They're saying, here's a $3,000 gold standard estimate. If you can't do that, then you're shit out of luck. And that's what I see these corporations doing. Whereas when you have these privately owned clinics, they're willing to work a little bit more. They're willing to say, well, maybe we can try this. And then if this doesn't work, then you might be shit out of luck. Or maybe then you can come up, then maybe you can come up with more money. Or, maybe you can go to this, maybe we can get you through until you can get to your general practice, and then your general practice will maybe give you a little bit more of a break because they know you as a client. You just don't know. Those are just things that I have worked with. But But I don't see corporations doing that. I see them following those strict protocols. Everything's black and white, and it's either this or nothing. And that's what's heartbreaking because these animals don't have insurance. And a lot of the times, if it's this or nothing, nothing is really death.
Yeah.
And that's what's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times the owners can only afford treatment, but not diagnostics. So now we're just, we're just throwing spaghetti at the wall at this point and saying, I hope these pain meds, antibiotics, and steroids and fluids help. But we don't know what's going on with the pet because we don't have the answers. And that's because we can't afford the answers.
Right.
And myself, I had to take Kiki to a emergency vet after she ate an entire can of coffee. And by the way, the coffee cans are really small, but they're loaded with sugar, and she was flying around the house. So I took her to our local emergency place. And and they're locally owned too, which is what I really like, which is why I chose them. I remember the relief when that doctor handed me a $1,700 bill for 24 hours for her. I was like, oh, it's only $1,700? Oh, thank God. I was expecting like $5,000. Okay, cool. Whatever you got to do, doc. But the thought that I was happy over 1,700 kind of says something.
Right.
Like my brain was prepared for 3 to 5 grand for her because she's a naughty little shit and she gets into everything. And I called pet poison control, and I did that step, and they're like, yeah, she needs to go. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of owners can't even afford $1,700. I know most of my owners can't. Most of my clients, they can't afford it. And usually they call me. Luckily, I have yet to have somebody call me on the spot. Oh, I'd probably just die of embarrassment and just, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But I always advocate for my owners and for the clinics. Actually, I'm always advocating for the clinics. I will go down on the sword for clinics of why we need blood work and x-rays. I just had that conversation with an owner today. Hey, we need blood work and x-rays because what you might not see on one, you're going to see on the other. For example, when you first met, Bronson was gassy. They want to do blood work only. And I'm like, no, I want blood work and x-rays. But nothing would have showed up on the blood work, but I advocated for x-rays, and then all the gas showed up. And that I use him as an example for my owners of why we really need to be doing blood work and x-rays, and not just one or the other if we can afford it. And this is why. So I personally always advocate for that when we're in a diagnostic situation. And I will go to bat every time for gold standard, at least with blood work and x-rays.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I can say comfortably, my pet owners, my clients know the importance of blood work and x-rays. My owners know, they know private equity versus privately owned. I spec that all the time. So at least I got this little area of Detroit. They know what's up. My clients know what's up. I keep it real with them. I let them know your doctor's doing this for this. So I have my clinic's backs. But a lot of pet owners don't have the option of having a technician in their home explaining these things who they know and they trust, who is unbiased because they don't work for a company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they start jumping to conclusions and start blaming the industry.
Yeah.
And that's where the issue lies, is they don't really have somebody they can talk to about these things who knows it, who's also impartial.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, the news hour was it was eye-opening, even as somebody who works in the field and who knows a little bit about what's going on, but personally has never worked for a corporate clinic full time. So I don't know obviously everything that goes on in the background or all of those things, but I think it would be eye-opening. And it's interesting to know what it looks like from an owner's perspective. Just because I know what it is like from our perspective, where we're like, yeah, I mean, that is kind of the shady things that are going on. Is it right? No. Is it starting to become the only option? Yes. Is there anything that's going to change about it? I don't think so. So.
I hope so. But I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think so. But I have been seeing I don't know. I think something funny is going on, and you know me, I'm always wearing my tinfoil hat. I've been seeing a lot of clinics up and closing recently. There's been a lot of closures. I know I've seen several Banfields close.
Oh,
VCAs. I've been seeing those in the vet tech groups. I don't know. I think there's a big shift going on because I do believe it was NVA just had a new leadership change as well. My personal tinfoil hat theory, and it's just me. I don't know anything, but I just pay attention to patterns and trends because that's what my brain does. It just notices things.
yeah.
I personally think that Mars is getting ready to dump Banfields and VCAs because they're not performing as well as other private equity firms because
Oh,
they're branded, they're labeled, the public knows who they are, the
yeah.
public doesn't want corporate med, and DCA and Banfield are known by the public to be corporate.
Yeah.
But all these itty bitty little chains, like these 40, these chains that consist of 40 clinics, 50 clinics, those smaller ones, they're locally in one region of the United States.
Yes.
Like, for example, Lakeland, I just saw something about them, to be brought up. I don't know who they are, but I think they're not here in Michigan, I don't believe. I personally believe that Mars is going to try to purchase out one of those groups that aren't branded, that aren't labeled, because they're making more money than Banfield and VCAs because the owners don't know that they're private equity firm backed clinics. But that's just my tinfoil hat theory. I don't have any proof. I have not been in any rooms. I just think it's interesting how a lot of these Banfields and VCAs, if you're in those vet tech groups, you see they're running on skeleton crews. They're not investing in new equipment. They're shutting down practices. Why are they doing that? Well, either they're trying to buff up their books so that way they look like they're being more productive and they can get a better loan from a bank to purchase a set of clinics, or they're going to dump the clinics, the VCAs and the Banfields, and buy up somebody else because monopolistic practices might come into play.
Right.
But again, call me crazy, call me tinfoil hat, whatever you want. It's just what I think, but I could be so freaking wrong. I could just be reaching, for straws at this point.
I
Which
mean, it could be on track because you're right. I mean, these other clinics are kind of red flagged in that sense.
Yep.
So, and corporations will do anything. They really don't care. I mean, not all. I mean, obviously we can't say
All of them.
all of them are like that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's about revenue, it's about making money, and it's about making
profits.
Particular people money. And
I like that.
So that they can stay in business to continue to make the money.
Yeah. And then what's the end goal of some of these smaller corporations, like the ones that are, 20 clinics to 100 clinics, the smaller guys? What are their end goals? That's what I want to know, because they're not publicly branding themselves. They're just hanging out, but they're merging together left and right. They're becoming bigger and bigger. So what's the end goal here for some of these guys? That's where I think that there's going to be a few major players in the next 5 to 10 years, and we're not going to have choices. They're all going to eat each other up.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have shit left as technicians or doctors to choose from. Hopefully I'm not being too pessimistic. And I swear that's only water in my cup.
Yeah. I mean, that is it's just the realistic avenue of what is happening in veterinary medicine right now. And it's scary and it's sad. And you look at how healthcare is in the United States and how expensive it is and how expensive insurance is. I mean, I was just telling Michelle, once I added my baby to the insurance, and realized how much it was going to be monthly, I dropped it and said it wasn't worth it. I said I would rather be putting that money in a high yield savings account and building up and than paying that much for insurance and then still having to pay almost $16,000 to $20,000 still out of pocket. So yeah, because then at that point, then I'm paying double out of pocket. So and that's just not worth it to me.
Uh-uh.
And if something bad happens, I mean, I ended up getting a part of something else so that we are protected in case something bad happens. That's way more affordable because regular health insurance to me is just not cutting it anymore. And I mean, gosh,
Mm-mm.
if it gets to that point for animals, I mean, people already can hardly afford preventative care. Preventative care
That's true.
itself is so expensive. And I want to be completely honest and transparent. I don't even do full preventative care for my pets. Once they reach a certain age,
I know you told me.
I don't continue to vaccinate them,
Yeah.
except for the legal one. And then where I live, fleas and ticks are only a problem in the spring and the summertime. So I only treat them in the spring and the summertime. I don't treat them in the wintertime. And we don't really have a huge problem with uh heartworm.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting to because we have a lot of out-of-towners that move into this area and they don't take care of their pets. So now it's starting to become a problem here.
Yeah.
Um, but when I was working in the field in 2009, we had 0 cases of heartworm. So, some of those things too. But I mean, because preventative care is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh God, yeah.
and then we bash these owners for not being on top of 100% preventative care. And I mean, it's expensive.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
it's not fair for us to be so judgmental to the owners. And we should be able to help these owners in a sense of they should be able to make their own decisions on what is right for them and for their pets and not have to be so again not be so judgmental because at the end of the day maybe they're spending all their money on preventative care and then an emergency happens and then they don't have any money for the actual emergency
Wonderful
where
outlook.
you know so we have to think about that too. It's owning animals is starting to become
A
what's
luxury.
the yeah, that's the
That's
word. Hmm.
and we're
And
told not to say animals is a luxury, but it's starting to become that way.
there's so many animals that need homes. So at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, even just an animal having a roof over its head is better than nothing. So
I
it's like
agree.
we judge these people and we're like, oh, I can't believe they don't take them to the vet. They're not up to date on their vaccines. They don't get treated for heartworm. They don't get treated for flea and ticks. And it's like, there's so many animals out there that need homes in general, you guys. Like, come on, we cannot be so hard and we cannot be so um we got to give our clients a little bit of slack because
We
it's
do.
either that or these pets are in shelters or they're homeless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got to have a happy medium there.
Mhm. You're absolutely right. And as somebody who has a 100-pound dog, and
Yeah.
I try my hardest to keep Brunson under that 100-pound mark. Oh my
Mhm.
God, if we go 101, I'm like, bro, we're going to doggy daycare for the day. Um, and I do that because obviously Heartgard goes up to 100 pounds, and I do not want to buy 100
Yes.
and a 25. So I'm like, bro, you
Right.
better stay under 100 pounds. And I don't get any discounts at any veterinary clinic because I do work by myself and I'm
Mhm.
not attached to any one clinic. So I come in as an owner with no discounts to my veterinary clinics.
It's
And
expensive.
let me tell you, I mean, I swallow it like a lady and I don't complain. I smile and I say, yep. And then I turn around out the door and I'm like, oh boy, I could have bought a new
Mhm.
set of tires for the amount of
Yeah.
money that I just put into Bronson's annual care. But I do get to work expenses. So that is good. He does get work expense. So that does help a little bit,
Mhm.
but not as much as people think. It's just basically money that I don't pay taxes on. That's all it is.
Right, but you still
But
have to
still,
spend
it's
that money.
expensive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, those are things that we have to think about. All
All right.
right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. And of course, with all of our Chill and Spill episodes, if you guys have any insights, we are going to put the link of the PBS News Hour on the show notes. So go ahead and watch it, take a listen, and then let us know what your thoughts are about it as well. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.